You want to teach them? Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good afternoon, wherever you are joining us from. My name is Julius. It's an early morning here in the Pearl of Africa, in Uganda. We greet you. We love you so much, and we want to get into our training for today. Today, I've worked with one of my land friend and my daughter Brianna, so we shall be disturbing you here and there. So please bear with us because we have decided to work together today, but we have an amicable understanding. So we greet you, we love you so much, and we want to now get started into today's training. Okay. Sorry for that feedback, but it has been sorted. And so we officially today want to get started into what we call indicators. All right. So today we officially want to get into indicators, and we shall basically flock back a little bit into some indicators that we have talked about before so that we could maybe be able to emphasize them a little bit. We shall start with the signal I gave for one of the amazing trades by the names of
ebyansobedde kuba we naamaze okubuuza eno question nenzirayo nenkyekinga nensanga nga ndi mu sipaafu nga kyenkoze nenkyenjinga nenteeka mu one shot kati ate wano bwongambye nti njikube insot ati
Okay, just a minute, guys. We are just trying to see if we can perfectly share the screen and see. That's what we are trying to confirm. Okay. All right. We are getting there. We are getting there. Okay. Sure, we are getting there. Okay, so today we want to discuss the first indicator we started with while opening up Royal Q. And this indicator was basically the indicator that is for support and resistance. If you have heard about the word pivot points on this call, give me one in the chat, because that's the indicator we are going to start with. That's where we are going to put our focus. If you have heard the name pivot points before, if you have heard the name pivot, if you have heard the word pivot points before, could you give me a one in the indicator by the name of pivot points? Please give me one in the chat. Give me one in the chat if you have heard the indicator by the names of pivot points. Give me one in the chat. And that's going to be our main indicator we are going to discuss today. We basically wind up, conclude, and come to the end of over this thing to deal with support and resistance, so that now we dive more into these other aspects of. So if you have heard the word pivot before on this board, it's gonna be our indicator for today. I'm moving a little bit slow because I have 2 weeks to go. I'm moving a little bit slow because I have 2 weeks to go. So I believe that by the end of these 2 weeks, I will have given a better, fantastic understanding of these different indicators that we are going to be putting our focus, putting our to give you the best results that anybody could make from the crypto market space. All right, so let's get into pivot as our main topic for today. Now, the first question we want to answer, since I've got some one. The rest of you don't want to give me your ones, please stay with them. I will not get annoyed. Please stay with your one. So what are pivot points? Pivot points are significant levels which are used to determine direction movement and also support and resistance levels. When it comes to trading, you could be able to determine the direction of the market. Okay, when it comes to trading, you could be able to determine direction of the market using what we call support and resistance. So pivot points help you to give you direction movement of the market through what we call support and resistance. But also, people leading indicators, okay? You the history, but also you the history of what have indicated. Pivot points are different types. We have what we call standard pivot points. We have what we call golden ratios from the Fib theory. Okay. And now I'll be discussing the Fib theory, but the Fib theory, ladies and gentlemen, or what we call the Fibonacci trading strategy, these are areas where the market is expected to retrace. Okay, maybe the market is moving up. Those levels where the market is expected to come down and touch those levels, then move in the opposite direction. Okay, now the Fib theory is gonna be one of the major trading aspects you're gonna use. Now with the pivot points, okay, with the pivot with the pivot points, give us better areas of entry and better areas of exit into the aspect of using trading in the aspect of trading using the TradingView application. Now, I want to go to pivot points and then be able to share my screen and discuss with you guys what are these that I'm talking about. Yesterday, I gave a long-term signal in the names of Acro, and I hope all of us can see how powerful this signal is. Could someone help me interpret what you see on the screen before I bring in? Could someone tell me what you see in the screen? Let me first look up my pivot points. Would someone tell me what you see in the screen? What do you see on the screen? How do you interpret what you see on the screen? Let me remove the stochastic RSI. Anybody on the call? What do you see? Because we have been going through this together. What do you see on the screen? Anybody on the call? What do you see? Any interpretation? Someone is saying, I'm not clear. Is it true? Okay. Any interpretation on the screen? Okay. Am I clear? I'm not clear. Let me find out. Let me find out. Can you hear me or I'm not clear? Let me know in the chat. Good. Okay, now what do you see on the screen? Let me remove this take profit. Yesterday we have been looking at these stuffs together. What do you see? What do you see? What do you see on the screen? Okay. What do you see on the screen? Let me try to balance it up. Okay, what do you see on the screen? I want to make it very, very clear. What do you see on the screen? Okay, someone saying a breakout. We are waiting for a test candle. This is 1 day. Let me take it to lower time frame. This is still a 4-hour time frame. Let me take it to a 1-hour time frame. What do you see on the screen, guys? How can you interpret this chart? Yeah. How can you interpret this chart? This chart. A descending triangle. Macro is now uptrend. Let me return it back to 1 day. But you see, this now will not give us. This will have more 18 hours. So let's take this. I think what we all can see. Thank you so much. I think Leader Batra his answer is one of the best. What we are seeing is the breaking. What we are seeing is the breaking of the resistance line. The resistance line is being broken. We cannot confirm that it has been broken, but what can we say? Our horizontal resistance line has been broken, this one. But our diagonal, just a minute. But our diagonal resistance line has not been broken. I don't know. Yes, the resistance line has been broken, but we are waiting for what we call a test what? A test candle. A candle that is going to close above here. All right. But me, since I'm a faster trader, okay, now there could be some take profits you could make. Someone may say, where I touched this line, I'll draw the line. Okay. And there are other minor support and resistances that could still give potential take profits. Okay, which I did not go into details. Right? There is this around here. So someone could say, from the current price, you see this is a 1.2%, and from here it's a 1.5. Someone could trade this. And basically they are already out of the business, but they could still be able to trade because this coin now is trying to, once it forms that test candle and it closes above, then expect this coin go to a minimum of this area here. What's happening, guys? Brian, I'm going to leave you. All right, I hope now I'm back. My network was cut off. Now I'm back. Let's go. Now, today, because of time, let me just get to, you will go and watch the videos, then you make personal intentions. But what you see is using support and resistance. So I want to clear off all these drawings, and I want to introduce pivot points. Like I've explained that pivot points is what we call a leading indicator. Very important. A leading indicator that helps you to see what is expected to happen, right? What is expected to happen? That's very, very important. So, okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, pivot points are significant levels that determine directional movement of the market. And basically, pivot points will give you already made support and resistance based on the golden ratio from the Fib theory. So we are going to be using the Fib pivot points. Now, how are pivot points calculated? That is also very, very important. How are pivot points calculated? Pivot points use what we call a prior high, a prior low, and a close. Let's go to this so that we can see. So this is my screen. I'll share my screen. And so we are gonna put in pivot points. So these are pivot points. Okay, what you see are what we call pivot points. So I will remove off my drawings. Brianna, we agreed you keep quiet. I'm going to get you out from you. You are not supposed to bleach. You are not supposed to bleach our contract. So now I go. I leave you. You bleach, I leave you. All right, guys, sorry. Sorry, guys. She bleached the contract. So I had it to go away. Okay. So pivot points, when you tap on them, so how do you enter this indicator on your screen? You tap on the plus sign, and then you tap on FX indicators. Then you go to technicals and write in the word pivot points. And when you are choosing, please, you choose the pivot point standard. Okay. When you tap on it once, it will get into your screen. Now, you could be able to tap on the setups or the settings, and it has an area of input. And here there is an arrow. Please turn this to Fibonacci. Fibonacci is one of the amazing indicators we shall be looking at in the near future. Okay. Then you could decide where the position could be left or right. It's up to you. Okay. Now it is on the left, which means that these lines you see, okay, So let me be specific. This line here, it is resistance 1. This line here is resistance 2. This line here is resistance 3. Okay, this line here is support 1. This line here is support 2. So it is using a fib theory, which I will explain in the near future, not now, to give us areas where the market is expecting, to be supported and where the market is expecting to be resisted. Give me one in the chat if that is clear to you, as I drop you a signal in the names of CRV. I drop you a signal in the names of CRV. As I drop you a signal in the names of CRV. As I drop you a signal in the names of CRV. As I drop you a morning signal. As I drop you a morning signal. As I drop you a signal in the names of CRV. Okay, I hope that work has been done. Now we move. Now we move. Okay. Just 1 more minute. Good to go. Time. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, how are pivot points calculated? So pivot points are usually, let me first remove them. Now, this was yesterday's candle. To calculate a pivot point, now all of you, you have been able to learn some little physics, okay? That is a turning point. A pivot is a turning point. So that area, it is a very important area, okay? It is a turning point. It is area where less energy is put, okay? Some little physics. An area where less energy is put. An area where less energy is put. So if it is a pivot line is an average of, if it is 1 hour, 4 hour, 15 minutes, the pivot point you see at 15 minutes, the pivot point you see at 1 hour is on average of yesterday's high, yesterday's low, and yesterday's close. For example, let's look here. Pay close attention, guys. This is yesterday's low, right? And this is yesterday's high, and then yesterday's close, the close of this candle. It's a green candle, yesterday's close. So let's go to a calculator. This law is not so perfect. They may not be so perfect, but they will be just close. Okay, let's get to a calculator so that you can know how pivot points come about. Okay, yes, so yesterday's low 0.0059592 plus the close, which is 0.00604. Am I right? 0.00604 plus yesterday's high. I may not have been so perfect. That's why there will be some differences. 0.00609. So this is, so divide by 3 because we are getting an average, which is 0.00601. There will be a little difference because the high was not touched very well. So we want to press in this, the pivot points. And now we are going to go, let me say 1 hour or 30 minutes. We are going to see where the pivot point will be. Okay, so you see the pivot point, guys? The price of the pivot point, 0.006. Let's get to our calculator. Can you see that? Can you see this? Give me one in the chat if you have seen this. It is the previous high, the previous low, and the previous close. The average of the three is what we call the pivot point. Give me one in the chat if you have learned how pivot points are developed. Give me one in the chat if you have learned how pivot points are developed. Give me one in the chat. Just give me one in the chat if you have learned how pivot points are developed. Now, it is an average. So if you want to find the pivot point of one day, it will be, when we move, it will be the high, the low, and the close of last week. I don't know if now I'm making sense. The high, the close of last week, the average of the high, the average of the low, and the close. So now, a pivot point is very, very important when trading. And when you see that the market has broken, now if I go to 1 week, it means it is the previous high, the previous low, and the previous close of a 1 month candle. When candles are forming below the pivot point, that coin is on a downward trend. Can you understand that? If candles are forming below a pivot point, below the average, then no, this market has gone into a downward trend. When candles are forming above a pivot point, in most cases, you will discover that this coin is on an upward trend. Hey, are we there? Give me a 2 in the chat if you have understood that. So I want to take you to the 4-hour time frame, and you see how powerful my statement is. Ladies and gentlemen, do we have candles forming above our pivot point? Do we have candles forming above our pivot point? But this coin is going to deliver money. Do we have candles forming above our pivot point? Do we have candles forming above our pivot point in the 4-hour time frame? Give me an answer in the chat. What I'm delivering is super knowledge. Do we have our candles forming above our pivot point? Give me, but God, how do you see these people who are seeing my screen and they don't want to answer yes? Could you help them so that when they go away from this Zoom, they forget? God, help me so that this person who's getting this knowledge and doesn't want to type a yes, when they go away from this Zoom, let them see Nimbus Cloud. If surely they have seen the pivot point on their screen and they don't want to type a yes, let them go. When they reach their trading view, they can see Nimbus Cloud. Instead of them seeing a pivot, they see plot. P is like X, W. Their P is not very clear. For sure, God will do it for me. Someone should see some Nimbus Cloud. You see the rain coming on their screen. Okay, just a joke to see that you guys are paying attention. I disagree with my word, so I turn it off. Okay. Now, this is the pivot point. This is the pivot point. You see, candles have closed the pivot. They have closed above the pivot point. And when they close above the pivot point, ladies and gentlemen, can you imagine? Where will be our next step? I said it is a leading indicator. When we leave the pivot point, the leading indicator is telling us where the resistance will be, and that will be our take profit. It's a leading indicator that shows you where you were expected to take your profit. Give me one in the chat if you have understood that. Before now, I continue. So you plan. After you have seen your candles forming above your pivot point, you plan to make your exit at the resistance, which is a leading indicator. Okay, so I'll stop sharing my screen, since now we are speaking the same language. Now, first, we know what pivot points are. 2, we know we are going to be using a Fibonacci indicator. 3, now we know how to calculate, how they calculate. Now, we want to go how we interpret. A move above the pivot point shows a bullish strength, and a move below the pivot point shows bearish market. A move above the pivot points shows a bullish strength, and a move below the pivot point shows a bearish strength. Okay. When the trend is above the pivot point, it is in an uptrend. When below the pivot point, it is in a downward trend. Okay, so let's get into this. When a coin goes above resistance 2, it has been overbought. So be careful for a possible reversal. When you trade, when you open up a trade and it has gone above resistance 2, it has been overbought. So just to know, things might turn against you. When it is below resistance support 2, it has been oversold. And here also be careful, there might be a reversal in the upside. Now let me get into these that I've just made statement about, so that I make it very, very clear for everybody this afternoon. Okay. All right. Now, I have said that when coins form above our pivot, the statement has been that understand that the market is on an uptrend. And once you find, let me find a coin in the names of Aave. Okay, I'm coming. You breached the contract, but I'm going to come. Are we there, guys? Let me know. Is this a good trading strategy? Let me know in the chat. Am I doing well? Okay. First and foremost, one, if, now listen to me very well, ladies and gentlemen. Me, I'm giving you, I want you to make money. So that I collect good fuel fee. So this is pivot point. The market started to form above our pivot point. And we say that when you enter, when it is above the pivot point, once you find that coins are forming above resistance 2, understand that this coin has been overbought. Once it goes above resistance 2, know that it has been overbought. And once it is below support 2, here there is no, once it is below support 2, can we see it here, ladies and gentlemen? Once it has touched support 2, also expect a reversal. Understand that this coin has been oversold. It has been oversold. Now expect a reversal. Hello? And once it is above resistance 2, like in this example, once you see that it has gone above resistance 2, like here, it had gone above resistance 2, understand that this coin has been overbought. And expect, and the expectation happened. Okay? Give me one in the chat if you have understood the overbought area, if you have understood the oversold area, and you have understood a pivot point. Give me one in the chat. Me, I want to warn you, you will make money until you forget your name. Now someone is saying, send me your wallet address. Are you sure? Are you sure? Why are you typing one more than once? Please, people with money, please, people with USDT, please don't overtype. If you have your USDT, please don't type one many times. Just say wallet address. Please don't, if you have your money, please don't overtype. You have made enough profit. Don't overtype 11111. No, just write wallet address and I will reach out to you very fast. Because when someone types 11111, send 10 times once, it means there is something itching him or her. So you just write wallet address. I will reach out to you very fast. Wallet address. Let me see. Okay. So we are looking at these pivot points, and that point is done. So let's go to next. Okay, so I repeat, a move above the pivot point shows a bullish strength, and a move below the pivot point shows a bearish strength. When it is above, when a price is above a pivot point, it's on an uptrend, and when a price is below the pivot point, it's on a downward trend. When an asset is above resistance 2, it has been overbought, and so you should be careful. And once it is below support 2, it has been oversold. Now let's go to the purposes of the pivot point. It is used to determine the overall trend of the market over different time frames. So the pivot point is used to see how is the market trending in the different time frames. So support and resistance levels can be used by traders to determine entry and exit points in trading, and also margin calls. So before because we are gonna see this for 3 days, we are gonna be looking at RSR tomorrow. Then the other day we shall talk about volume. So we shall combine the pivot points, the RSI, and the volumes to really know how this. But let me now go to this point of entry and exit in the market, and then I'll call it a day. Okay, so let me go to entry and exit in the market. Entries and exits in the market. Entries and exits in the market. Let me change so that mine appear on the right to make my life easy. So I'm dealing with the so in this example, to make my life easier, the pivot point is here. So I will draw a line and I'll make this red in color because it is the pivot point. Then I'll pick my horizontal line, draw my line at resistance 1, and I'll make it black for identification. So it will be resistance. Okay, then I'll go to resistance 2 and I'll make it black too. And then I'll go to resistance 3 and I'll make it black too. Okay, then I will come to support 1. I will make it purple. Then I'll come to support 2, purple. Then I'll come to support 3, purple. Then I'm gonna remove the indicator. Hello. If you have learned that, give me a 2 in the chat. If you have learned that, give me a 2 in the chat. If you have learned that, give me a 2 in the chat. Good. If someone is not typing 2, and also not typing, I've not understood, please, I ask you, you also see how I got out of my bed at night, read a lot, did a lot of research, didn't sleep. You also see God, how my family complains about me not giving them time, and someone cannot type it too. Please, I beg God, let them forget if they have understood and they are not typing it too. Let them forget, so that today's Zoom becomes useless if they have really understood. Okay, let me come again. Because I know most of you, let me pick another coin because someone may say he's on that coin. I can pick any. There we go with compound. So we tap on the plus sign, ladies and gentlemen, FX indicators. We go to technicals and type in the word pivot point standard, and it gets into our screen. So they are traditional, but we are going to tap on the setting icon. If you don't know the setting icon, this is the setting icon. We tap on the setting icon and we tap where there is the word traditional and we turn them into Fibonacci. Then we tap that. Our lines are appearing, our labels are appearing on the right. They are appearing on the left. So first and foremost, we shall look for the current pivot point. We shall look for the current pivot point. And so we shall come and draw our line, our horizontal line at this pivot point. And because it is the center of everything, we shall give it the red color for identification. Then we shall go on top and tap on resistance and we draw a line and resistance. I have chosen black. You could choose your own color. Then we go to resistance 2 and give it black. Then we go to resistance 3 and give it black. Then we come to support 1 And we shall turn this to, I chose purple. Then we shall go to support 2, purple. Then we shall go to support 3, purple. Now we have also said that when coins are forming above our pivot point, it's on an uptrend. And when it is forming below our pivot point, it's on a downtrend. We have also said that when candles move from the pivot point, break resistance 1 and break resistance 2, when they have continued above resistance 2, they are into overbought. People have overbought this particular asset. And we also said that when they come to support, they break support 1, then they come down to support 2, we shall say that they have been oversold. Now, what we shall do, after we have drawn our lines, we shall now come to the indicator, tap on it once, then tap X. So we remove the indicator. And ladies and gentlemen, can you see how beautiful our support and resistance has been respected? And so if I was a trader and I find that the pivot has been broken, like here, and there was a test candle, I would make my entry here and make my exit at resistance 1. And once resistance 1 is broken, I could still make my entry above resistance 1 and take my profit at resistance 2. Give me one in the chat if that is clear. Give me a 2 if you don't understand. No, me, I don't know how I can explain. Now, tomorrow we shall add on this. Tomorrow we are going to add on the stochastic RSI and also another indicator we call the volume spread indicator. Oh, hey, let me look for this coin called the Aave. Aave. You know, you make your trading experience a sweeter one. Pivot support. You can still go ahead and draw small areas of support and small areas of resistance. That should not prevent you guys. Okay, same philosophy. Okay, these we shall be able to discuss not now. We are discussing one indicator. Tap on the plus sign, FX indicators, and write in the indicator pivot points standard. It gets into your screen. It comes in a traditional way. You could use the Fibonacci. They will give you better understanding. I will not go into what is this, what is that. And so the first point you look at is the pivot point. What is the pivot point? The pivot point, ladies and gentlemen, we said the pivot point, like for this 1 hour, is the average of the low, the average of the high, and the average of the close candle of 1 day. Someone is asking me what app are you using? Chey. Now it means it's your first time to be here. So the first step you will look for is the pivot point. So you get a pivot point, draw a line at the pivot point area. I could love to give it a red color for clear identification. By the way, then you could draw another line at the resistance. And I would love to give this a black color. By the way, you could, even if you want to increase the thickness of your lines, okay, you could love to say, I would love to make my lines very thick for easy identification. Then you go to your upper line, this one, resistance 2, and you turn your favorite color, resistance. I'm giving it black, pivot red. Then I come down to support. Then I decide to make this purple. Although this doesn't stop you, support 1 and support 2, this doesn't stop you from constructing minor supports and minor resistances. Then I'll remove my lines. Can you see how powerful the market moved, ladies and gentlemen? Let me pick the price range. Use how it moved from support 1 to pivot here. Do you see how powerful? When it closed above the pivot, it moved below the pivot here. But when it closed above the pivot at this area, do you see how powerful it moved up to there? Now, once it has closed above resistance 1, ladies and gentlemen, don't be surprised. From here, it did it the first time, but it's gonna do it the second time. Imagine you are trading using this strategy, and on the same coin, on the 23rd of November, you took a 10%. You waited, maybe you didn't take that, or maybe you took that, then you went in again, and you took another, then you waited. That is from the 23rd. Then you came back in the market around here, still the same day. You took another 3%. But why is it giving me? No, this is November. Hey, no, guys, let's start again, afresh. Imagine on the 1st of November, you took a 10%, you came back in the market. On the 2nd of November, you took another 9%, you came back again. On the 6th of November, same coin, you took another 8%, you came back yesterday on the same coin, here, and you take another 4%. In one, that is 4 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10. Is that good business, guys? Using support and resistance, pivot points, support 1, support 2, resistance 1, resistance 2 to make money. Are we learning? Give me a 1 in the chat if you are learning. Give me a 1 in the chat if you are learning. And so now tomorrow, we are going to be able to add on another indicator. So it is not a standalone indicator. I've already given, imagine this is Acro. Let's look at Acro. Let's look at Acro, guys, in the 1 day time frame. Let me go to 4 hours for bigger take profit. And we shall tap on the plus FX indicators, pick the pivot points, and there we go, ladies and gentlemen. And then we shall draw at our support 1. Then we shall draw at our pivot point. Then we shall draw at our, I want to talk about something. Resistance. Ready. No. Black. Ready. Then we shall go for our resistance too. I want to discuss something. This is black. I want to discuss something. Someone was telling me, Julius, is it okay for me to remove the previous supports and resistance and remain with the current ones? No, you could still use them to make small repeated take profits. For example, this was support 1 for the other day, so I could use it and I could maybe give it a different color. Let me see. I give it a blue color. Then I come to the pivot point. This for yesterday. So I'll just give them the same color, blue, for yesterday. I don't know if I'm making sense for someone. For the other day. Then this is, so I could use them. I don't know if I'm now making sense for someone. I could still use them to make faster entries and exits in the market. Because if I was going to use the other one, let me pick my price range and point it at, maybe I entered from around here. This was the pivot point from here. You see, my resistance is at a 5%, my resistance 1, but I could use this pivot to take a 2%. As I wait, then I get in again. I don't know if I'm making sense. So I could use the previous ones to also make entries and exits in the what? In the market. Hello? Have I answered you? So please don't use this indicator as a standalone indicator. Tomorrow we shall combine 2 more indicators. And so if someone could ask me how far do you expect Acro to go, I could still take you to 1 day. Now, if I'm smart enough, okay. If I'm smart enough, there's another pivot point there. If I'm smart enough, look, guys, look how smart you can become. Look. I could still get to this high. Now, can we see that? What am I trying to draw? Let me know in the chat. What am I trying to draw? Let me know in the chat. What am I trying to draw, guys? Let me remove this pivot stuff. What am I trying to draw? Can you see that I can be now thinking my next, because it is it's on a downtrend here. But you see, using margin calls, I've drawn a diagonal trend line. Thank you. So I could say, look here, guys. I'm entering from here to here as my take profit. Look here, guys. From here to here, it is margin call 1. Pay close attention, guys. I'm breaking a big gist. From here to here is margin call 2. I'm using pivot points. I'm not even using from here to here is margin call 4. Then I go to my margin calls. I say, I can even do this in a lower time frame. Then I say, once it buys the first call, let this be 20 times. When it buys the second call, this is be 20. Let this buy the third call, let this is be 40 times. Then I make my first buying amount 20. I have my capital times 10, it will be 200. 20 times 20 to be 400. 20 times 40, it will be 600. The 600, 1,000, $1,200. Do you know how much money I'll collect? I'm doing what we call intentional margin calls. Give me one in the chat if you have understood that. And I'm doubling. At first, I bought 10. Second, I bought 20 times. Third, I bought 30, 40 times. I'm doubling. The double up may be bigger. It doesn't only need to be a 24816. I could say mine will be a 1010. Or mine will be a 2020. I think that's enough for today. And that's why I said that Acro, my long-term signal of Acro from here, so far it has delivered a 2%. My long-term signal of Acro still remains 11%. And with the margin calls of 8% drop. Why is it a long term? It may take long to deliver. So today we have officially finalized support and resistance with pivot points. Someone says check on sushi. Sushi. Who told you to buy it high? Why the one who told you to buy sushi when it is high? Told you. Told you to buy a pumping coin. Am I the one? Am I the one? Am I the one, sir? Am I the one who told you? Okay. Okay, the labels are on the right. Ladies and gentlemen, what did we say? When a coin has existed resistance to, what did we say? Because what we see here, if I try to draw a line, we all can see that sushi exceeded resistance to. What did we say? When a coin exists resistance to, it has been overbought. So understand there will come a river. It will bring a river. It will bring a river. Expect a river. A reversal. But it looks, once this candle is respected, then, sir, you seem to be having some money up to resistance 3 here. Okay. Let me look at it in a 4 time frame. It has been overbought, so please understand. It looks to have a resistance, but expect things might go your other way around. Okay. Now, as I come to the end, I want to display you something. This together was for the other day. I don't know if I'm making sense. Because now I've explained. And what you see here is the one for today. You see they are separating them. Can we see these unseen lines? I don't know if I'm speaking to people. Can you see unseen lines? Because unless someone can see this, someone might. Can we see these unseen lines that are trying to demarcate for you? Lastly, someone told me to check WorldCoin. WLD. Sweet. This is a sweet trade. Okay, so let's do the different tasks. So let me remove drawings so that we start off. Okay. The pivot point. What did we say when the market is forming below the pivot point? One answer in the chart. What did we say when candles are forming below the pivot point? I need an answer in the chart. What did we say when candles are forming below the pivot point? Thank you. We move. This is support one. This is support one. Okay, but I can still play with this pivot point for yesterday. So I will take this resistance. This is the future. So I would advise that you draw both the future and the past. You use both the future and the past to help you win better, right, guys? I hope that is clear too. So let's also draw the past. I'll use a blue color for the past, all the past, or pivot points or what. So you can always draw in the present and in the what? We can draw in the present and in the what? So, and the past. So I'll remove the indicator now. So if I want to trade the world coin, I would say I'm entering at current price. I'm taking profit at the resistance, and I'll set my first margin call. Only one margin call is enough here. It's a very good trade. Once it breaks my first margin call, I can come back on my trade and I set the second margin call. Once it breaks my second margin call, I can come and set the third margin call. Is that okay, guys? Let me know. Give me a 2 in the chat if it is understandable. I'm on a floating loss. Let me check. This is my wife's account. I'm trying to stay in here. She's having directs, but she's also trading with a floating loss of now $1,000. But guys, this is so sweet. This is Aave. My wife is trading Aave. We're a little bit aggressive because who knows why we're a little bit aggressive? Let me know in the chat. Why do you think our trading strategy is a little bit aggressive? Somebody in an answer in the chat. Why do you think our trading strategy is a little bit aggressive? We're exposing all our money. Anybody who could answer that? Why do you think? Why do you think we are exposing over $1,000, 100? Yeah, our trading strategy is a little bit aggressive because we analyze the market. Okay? When you analyze the market, you become more confident. Am I right, guys? When you analyze the market, you become more confident. Am I right? You become more confident. So we can trade my wife's account. My wife can trade more aggressively, even by the way, better than me. I'm trying to train her to be a market analyst so that when she's at her workplace, in her free time, she can be able to make profit. So we expect this because we have been able. Let me remove all these. Can we see this, guys? You see, when a coin breaks your resistance, even when the stochastic RSI is pointing down, you see the coin was able to make the first breakout, the second breakout, and we expected the market to move from here to there. That's all. Then we shall run away. There might be a delay, but it will. And you see what is happening in the 30 minutes time frame, guys? You see the stochastic RSI. We're going to discuss stochastic tomorrow. So we can be able to see what we expect and basically be able to make personal decisions accordingly, even if you place here a parrot channel. Where is it? But me, I would be one of the good trader, but your messages become too many that I don't get time to spend some good time on the market. But I would be very soon. I promised. So I'll take this high here. It's even if I press this up here. Okay, but it's gonna come down now. It will come down. But when you have time and lines the market, you could be more confident. I think she entered this coin again. Yeah, I think she entered this coin again. All right, so guys, have an amazing day. Love you all. Bye, everybody. Nice trading. Thank you. See you on the streets of Withdraw. Bye, everybody.